Losing friends in your 20s or your 30s could be one of the most disorientating experiences that one could go through. And as high achievers ourselves, we have such high standards for our life that it's quite heartbreaking to have to let go of people who may not be able to go with us to that new level of success, breakthrough, prosperity, and pretty much fulfillment. So today, I want to share with you how you could gain perspective when you start to lose friends as you have different goals and aspirations that no longer match with theirs. And the first one is that when you are losing friends, your frequency is pretty much being recalibrated. Whether you believe in spirituality or not, but I always believe that once we mentally decide that this is the life that we want, the universe will conspire to support us for our highest good. Now, when we get into conversations about topics that absolutely contradict your ability to make more money as who you are, and not like, yeah, because you are you and you don't have enough experience, that means you have to wait 10 more years to be successful, which was what happened to me. The universe or life is pretty much helping you recalibrate your inner identity so that these words that diminish you can no longer enter your field. See, the thing is, mental decision is one of the most powerful things that we can make. And it is those decisions that are made where our subconscious is altered. And the minute that your subconscious has accepted the fact that you are destined for success, eventually any conversations to do with, but it takes 100 more years for someone like you to be successful. Oh, but someone like you in Australia probably won't succeed because of bamboo ceiling as an Asian woman. And all these contradictions that came up in my life in my mid-20s, all of these words have to go. They don't serve you. They don't serve your belief. They don't facilitate your growth. And that's why when you're losing friends, even though it's upsetting, but in a way it's a gain because you now have the opportunity to recalibrate how you talk to yourself, your deep core belief systems, your attention, your focus, your expectation. All of these things are being recalibrated so you can shoot faster towards your exponential success. Which then leads to the second point, and that is you just have outgrown your old self. Now, I'm a big believer that everyone is pushed out, and every single human being that comes into your field is a reflection of your inner consciousness. So recently, I met somebody that's really awesome, and I met him through Zoom. Not a dating app, not in person, not anything, just Zoom. And for about 2 to 3 years, I've been waiting to meet someone like this individual. For a long time, I used to script about it. One day I'm going to meet someone so highly emotionally intelligent and just so evolved, so mature, and has a similar outlook towards life like me. And when we have a conversation, it's going to be so soul nourishing and fulfilling to my life. But it took me about 2 to 3 years of consistent reps towards the life that I wanted. Whether that is showing up to public speaking, showing up to do my YouTube, showing up to do my inner work consistently for 2 to 3 years of no evidence. And then suddenly it just lands. And that's because he doesn't belong to any versions of my old self. And sometimes if you have baggages from your past that is way too strong, since I'm in my early 30s, in the physical realm, it may take a little bit longer than you expected for all the residues of your old identity to fade away. So what I'm trying to say is that your friends are a complete reflection of where your consciousness is at. And if in those 2 to 3 years gap, your consciousness is in the state of not feeling worthy, feeling mediocre, feeling like someone like me can't succeed in Sydney or Australia because I'm Asian, which is what I felt for my whole life. Believing that someone like you can't succeed because you're too young or because you're too old, then certain people that resonate with your higher self cannot enter your field until every part of your old self is gone. So therefore, when your subconscious has been fully impressed that you're done, and you're pretty much leveling up to the exact life that you want, where people who are operating at your frequency are now entering your field, you then lose every single extensions of you because you've pretty much completely outgrown your old self. And that is why those friends that you loved or you were once close with 3 to 4 years ago, they're just not in your life because they're not extensions of the new version of you anymore. You're completely at a new level of consciousness, and they're probably at a new level of consciousness and it doesn't tune anymore. Which leads to the third point, and that is your future self requires you to be all in with her or with him. In order for you to be at a level where you are solely satisfied, as in your soul is so satisfied, you're deeply satiated, you're so fulfilled by the quality of life that you're living. It's not just about how much money you make, but it's also about the people and how they nourish your life. They have the same outlook, and you guys push each other to always manifest new opportunities. That future self, it requires every part of your inner talk, your subconscious, your beliefs, your self-concept to be congruent to that reality. But you can't be fully congruent if you're not all in. So I used to be in a phase, probably these last 2 to 3 years before I met this individual, where I felt like I was all in. But there were parts of me that would entertain conversations that diminished me. And even though I felt like I was okay with it, but I would internalize these diminishment. And I would ask myself just a few months ago, but why is it still here? I've been all in. I've been doing 15 minutes cold plunge. I've been swimming a crap ton. I've been leveling up so much for a whole year. I've been consistent. I've been devoted. But why do opposites still show up my reality? And the thing is, it's not about what happens to you when the opposites show up. It's absolutely about how dedicated you are to staying elevated, despite people diminishing you in the process, despite people still talking to you as the old version of you. Recently, I was bumping into a friend at the shopping center and I pretty much wanted to bond with her. So I asked her, what do you think of this new direction I'm going with my career? And what I wanted to hear was her feedback on the niche, helping high-achieving women shatter their inner worth ceiling, which is something that I offer as a coaching service. So if you're interested, you can always contact me and we can get in touch. But anyway, instead of, being received feedback on the niche where, I think high-achieving women are struggling with burnout and chronic fatigue and self-doubt at every single level, no matter how much money they make. So I think this service is good to help people feel seen by people that understand what they're going through. She then said to me, Patty, if you are a rich person who's in a rich family, then of course you can have time to think about this idea because you don't have bills to pay, because you don't have rent to pay. But as an ordinary person, day-to-day person, we got to focus on paying our bills. So I think that what we have to do is get a job that pays the bills, and then we can perhaps think about anything else in our spare time. And then she goes on to tell me about somebody else that spent 5 years, working in manufacturing job or something. And then on the 6th year, she became an owner of the factory plant or something like that. And again, it's a very well-meaning advice. It's really nice for her to give this input. But as you can see, it's a frequency mismatch. Because again, when these situations pop up where you're literally told, like, you don't have permission to go all in, it is wrong to be who you are because, you're privileged and you have time to even pursue entrepreneurship, which I understand is a privilege. But you cannot have people telling you to not go all in with your vision in order for you to go all in with your vision. And that's why you start to lose friends, not because they're bad people, but it's because their way of seeing life is completely different to yours. And I understand that every truth can be the truth, but if the truth for you is that you deserve to go all in and you deserve to do what you want to do without having to take the long route, then you deserve to stay on your path by again calibrating your frequency to where it needs to be for you to stay focused on doing what you need to do for a prolonged period of time with no return yet, and keep compounding your confidence to the point where once you reach this place, I mean, your income, your abundance, your everything will exceed through the roof. That starts from you going all in during the days where people tell you, no, you shouldn't really go all in first because of their own life conditions. So then leading up to the fourth point, that is, your best life requires a brand new identity, which ties into the similar one where if somebody were to tell you something like, yeah, but you should pay the rent and bills first and probably just focus your vision on the side in the background. I totally understand that everyone's in different life situations and rent and bills and mortgage is not something that we can easily avoid. But if you're in a life situation where you can afford to go all in as hard as you want on the things that you want, then there's no reason why you should feel shameful for having a dream and having visions that other people don't accept in the meantime. And that is why you need a brand new identity to carry you through this period where no matter how many times you share your vision, trust me, to your old ecosystem that, yeah, I have this idea, I want to do this, I'm passionate about this. And then the feedback usually corresponds to the old version of you who was once insecure, who was once doubtful. And it's interesting because people see you only as much as they see themselves. So they see themselves, as a woman who always get played by men and men don't take really seriously. So therefore they're not going to take any men seriously. Then they will start to give you advice along the lines of, look, Patty, men can't be trusted. Especially successful men, they can't be trusted, all these things. And once you make that the law of your universe, I mean, how are you supposed to achieve this exponential point where your life is filled with love, quality networks, quality friendships, and people that can nourish you financially? So therefore, you must stay strong in the brand new identity where you don't let people's words sway you off your path through making you feel shameful or guilty for wanting what you want out of life. A lot of times I used to be told that if you want to be with a successful man, he will play you. So if you want to be with a man who is committed to you, he's not going to be successful. And that's why he will have time to commit to you. This was a normal thing for my old reality. Until one day I finally, started to elevate my consciousness and I started to see things in life that were evidences of my new belief. And that was that there are successful men that are absolutely amazing. So you don't have to stay small in order to bond with friends who have different values and outlook towards life. You don't have to pretend that, there's no way for me to find men as well, so therefore we're on the same page. For you to be relatable, but then you self-sabotage the life that you truly want. And it's interesting because when we make quality money, like money that serves our dignity, money that doesn't degrade us, it all is about forming beautiful relationships with your clients. So if you can't form personal relationships that are high quality, then how do you even form beautiful relationships with high-paying clients that will literally pay your bills, your mortgage, or whatever? You know what I mean? So it's not about everything's interconnected, is what I'm trying to say. Money is not separate from relationships. And as long as you stay like 1 foot in your old identity and 1 foot out of your old identity because you want to be relatable to your old friends, that's why the money is hard, because your relationship to life and your relationship to people is hard. So that's why we're now leading to the final point, and that is your old friend was meant to stay for a certain season of your life. So if you're insecure and the only thing you can attract is insecurity for the time being, then that friend served you to help you overcome your insecurity. If you're once so doubtful towards your future and you always felt small and diminished, then that friend who came in served the purpose for you to grow. But it doesn't mean that certain friends will stay with you forever, because everyone has different priorities. One day you decide that I can meet a man who's devoted, loyal, amazing, but also highly ambitious like me. And he doesn't have to be committed, but lazy, or successful, but not committed to me. It doesn't have to be like that. It's scarcity thinking. But it can be both things, because you decide to go all in with your new identity. So therefore, the old friends that reflected each versions of you, right? So this is version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, who hasn't fully become a butterfly yet. You're kind of evolving. Every extensions of you on these versions, they're going to fall off when you become eventually the whole version of you. But then every single friend that you once connected with through shared trauma, through shared gossips, or even through some shared values from the past, they came to help you realize what you want and don't want out of life. So in the end, they did help you grow, because now you know what you no longer want to tolerate, what conversations you don't like having, and what kind of conversations you truly want to have in the future. And they also taught you that you are absolutely okay being a loner for a while if there is nobody in your default environment who could match your frequency, because you're still kind of morphing from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So please don't give up on yourself just because, if you're lonely. And some people, like celebrities and stuff, who are born in abundant environments, they already have beautiful networks when they were children, so they can keep those networks long term and bloom till their adult days. But a lot of us, we tend to figure our life out later, and therefore we constantly evolve. And through those evolution process, the people that come into our life also change. And that's not a bad thing. The only thing you should remember is that you are worthy, and you deserve to have friends that truly nourish your soul and nourish the best version of you, by talking about the right things with you, by installing the right beliefs with you, by supporting you on your endeavors, and by always bringing out the best version of you, and not the version of you that was comfortable or relatable to them. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and see you soon.